Ready?
Not yet. That's definitely making the recording. David didn't charge him.
We're ready when you are.
All right, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. The time is 6:31 p.m. and the Town of Wiggins Board of Adjustment meeting is now in session. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
Emma Larry, I believe is absent. Trustee Jerry Schwint,
Here.
trustee Brian Platts,
Here.
Mayor, I'm gonna reverse this. Chairman Pro Tem David Herbstman,
Here.
member Bruce Miller,
Here.
and member Steve Perot,
Here.
and Chairman Chris Brandon.
Here. All right, next up, approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Motion has been made by member Miller, seconded by member Perot. Roll call, please.
Randy Camilleri is absent. Member trustee Schwint,
Yes.
member Brian Platts,
Yes.
member David Herbstman.
Yes.
Member Bruce Miller.
Yes,
Member Steve Perot.
Yes.
Chairman Chris Brandon.
Yes. All right, next is the consent agenda, approval of Board of Adjustments, meeting minutes, April 27th,
Yeah, sorry.
2022.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion has been made by member Herbstman, seconded by member Miller. Roll call, please.
Member Randy Camilleri is absent. Member Jerry Schwint.
Yes.
Member Brian Flax.
Yes.
Member David Herbstman.
Yes.
Member Bruce Miller.
yes,
Member Steve Perot.
Yes.
Member Chris Brandon.
Yes. All right, next is consideration of BOA, resolution number 01-2023. A resolution approving a fence variance request for Mario Saldana for the property located at 206 North Agate Street.
You have a script on the very back of your notebook. Nope, your notebook. I know, sorry. I think we have one of these a year.
Yeah.
Very back. Yeah, there's a tab right there.
All right, I will now open the public hearing for the following application. Variance fence application for Mario Saldana at 206 North Agate Street. The purpose of the hearing is to provide a public forum for all interested parties who wish to comment on the application before the Board of Adjustment. Please sign the roster if you wish to speak. The procedure for the public hearing will be as follows. First, there will be a presentation by town staff. Next, we will have a presentation by the applicant. After these two presentations, we will allow people who may be on the Zoom webinar or in the boardroom audience to speak up for 5 minutes each. Please do not repeat points made by others. It is fine to get up and say, I agree with Mr. Smith's comments. Please direct your comments to the board members, not the applicant or town staff. After receiving public comments, we will allow the applicant an opportunity to respond. Next, Board of Adjustment members may ask questions of anyone who testified. I will then close the public hearing and no further testimony or evidence will be received. The Board of Adjustment will discuss the matter and may take some kind of action. Public hearings are recorded for the public record. All testimony must be presented at the podium after you give your full name and address. Do we have proper notification?
Yes.
Do any Board of Adjustment members have any disclosures? This includes conversations, phone calls, emails, or other notifications. All right, would staff introduce the applicant and provide your staff report?
You would think I'd want to sit there and do it, but I'm used to doing this. So this is a variance. We don't get very many of these. And basically, what we're looking at is a variance request from Mr. Mario Saldana. Mr. Martin Saldana is Mario's brother, and I believe Mario is going to be online with us.
He's right there.
There he is. Their fence variance request is in regards to 206 North Agate Street. And just for the public and anybody that doesn't know their town very well, it's basically just to the east of the grocery store across the street. So there's, if anybody knows where the former Mayor Mac's father used to live, just down the street from there. So the closest intersection you're looking at is Agate Street and Elm Avenue. They're about 2 doors down. And basically what they would like to do is they would like to take out the old fence, which is actually the fence material they currently have is actually not allowed. It's non-conformed. It remains there because it's been there since the existing of Dawn, I think. And because of that, they're allowed to keep it there as long as they, maintain it. But once they start moving it out, that type of material can't be used. They would like to put in a privacy fence, and specifically a 6-foot privacy fence. And normally that's not a problem, except in this case, their mobile home trailer sits way back in the lot. There's only about 16.5 foot space between the back of the trailer or the end of the trailer and their rear lot. The other unique situation about this lot is that if you were to try to access this home from Agate Street, if you travel this road, you'll probably notice that it's one of the only footbridges that runs across the town stormwater ditch. And there's no driveway access. Their driveway access is through the alley. And a lot of the space that they have in the backyard is used for their parking for their personal vehicles. For the purpose of having a backyard and to help contain their animals, they would like to put a 6-foot fence, privacy fence that goes around the entire lot, which in this case is the first drawing that you have in your packet information. It's going to be on page, and of course I printed the document without it's going to be after the first resolution option. In the land development code, a 6-foot fence is usually not a problem. The problem lies in that from the front elevation of a home towards the front street, the resident or property owner needs to drop down to 4 foot. This being the case, it doesn't really provide the privacy that most residents have in their backyard. When you put up a fence that they can have their family gatherings or contain their animals or do whatever their heart's desire, I guess, and have that privacy by dropping down to 4 foot, it kind of negates that. They would like to also replace the fencing on the north side, on the rear of the property of the alley, and then on the south side, it already has a 6-foot fence, so that one would remain. But as far as the front and the other 2 remaining sides, they would like to put the 6-foot fence up. Staff has had more than a few conversations, I think. I've also taken a visit out to the property to take a look at it. The house faces to the front door actually faces to the south, which if that's the front door and you can't go past the front elevations of the home, it puts the potential fence before it drops down to 4 foot, probably over 30-40 feet from the road. It doesn't allow for very much of a yard back there. One of the things that the Board of Adjustments has to take into consideration is that the inside the definitions in the land development code, that the only time that you're allowed to make an adjustment to the land development code is in regards to height, area, or size of a structure or size of the yard and open spaces. The fence is considered in our land development code a structure. So that's where you're allowed to consider this application. In addition, and you'll see these in the resolution. There are 7 things in regards to the hardship that the members need to consider. I won't go through all of them. You can see them in your packet, but the ones that were checked marked off on each of the optional resolutions was the hardship of which the applicant complains is one suffered by the applicant rather than by neighbors or the general public. The other option that we checked off was the hardship is unique and unusual or nearly so, rather than one shared by many or the surrounding properties. If you look at some of his neighbors and everything, they are closer to Agate than to the rear. So it does kind of make them stand out. Number 5, the variance requested in the minimum is the minimum that will afford relief and least possible modification of the requirements in the ordinance. And number 6 is the other one. The hardship is not the result of the applicant's own actions. The mobile home park was placed there prior to their ownership. It's not something that they can do. The other option, because it is a mobile home park and a mobile home trailer, and is that obviously they could, move the trailer. And it's not something that I discussed with them because I didn't consider it an option. It's extreme. And in doing so, if they were to move it, then they are, again, in a non-conform situation because this particular zone is zoned R2, multifamily residential. And the land development code no longer allows mobile home trailers to be placed in R2 or R1 zones. It can only be placed in the mobile home park district. So if they were to move this, even just an inch, and then tie it back down, they would be required to actually move the trailer out and put either a manufactured modular or a stick-built home back in. So obviously that was an extreme measure, but that's one reason why we didn't consider it is because, or at least I didn't consider it, is because it would take up quite a bit. And then again, of course, what I already mentioned in the land development code, as far as the fence requirements that anything that is located in the front yard setbacks shall be dropped down by 4 to 4 foot in height. One of the, in the packet, you actually have 2 options. There's a variety of options and you don't have to take either one of these resolutions. You can also amend one of the resolutions to be more adaptable to what the board chooses to do. These are just a couple of options based off of my conversations with the applicant and their site plan that they provided to me, which is option 1. And that would put the 6-foot fence in the entire perimeter, going from corner to corner, all 4 corners. And so that is option 1. Option 2, you will see that drawn out. It's going to look like the colorful one in your packet after the resolution. And this is staff recommendations for consideration, mainly because as part of our development, when we look at, even just subdivision development, and granted, this is not a subdivision, but we try to, as we're filling in lots and stuff like that, that we have to take in consideration what's surrounding the home and what will make it more not looking exactly the same, obviously, but even when you go into Kiowa Park, each one is basically the same. They might be different elevations and color, or the veneer might be different on the front elevations and such forth, but the whole respect is that you can identify the front yard. In our particular recommendation, it leaves the footbridge open and then puts a gate, just to the north of the footbridge, so they can still access, go across the footbridge, still access their backyard, their new backyard. And then also allow them to put a 6-foot fence up closer to the shed that's at the rear of their property so that it encloses 6 foot all the way around. It just leaves that south front yard empty. It also makes their yard more accessible to emergency personnel. I know we have a volunteer fire department, and obviously our PD is, with the town. But as we get new officers or new volunteers on the fire department, they don't always know that the access can be done from the alley. And they may go to just 206 North Agate and they'll have to access, a door from, the front yard. By doing this, you've got a straight path, across the yard without having to go through any gates. And it identifies the home with the front yard. As part of as part of either resolution option, or if you decide to amend one of these options, we do have as part of the conditions that the footbridge is going across the stormwater drain, which is town property, and the applicants have agreed that they would do a license maintenance agreement, which the board will probably see at the end of June. And basically that'll just maintain that the liability of the bridge itself is not on the town. And that the applicants will be responsible for maintaining the bridge, making sure that it's ADA handicapped accessible, meaning they just need to add a railing to it. As long as it's 36 inches wide, which I believe it already is, then, it's already ADA compliant. So just making sure that the planks are still in good condition and that it's not like sinking into the drain water or the storm water and whatnot. And then in addition, if the mobile home trailer is removed or reoriented so that it fronts Agate Street, the fence shall be removed and reconstructed to comply with all land development codes. If the mobile home trailer is moved at all, as I said before, they would be required to take it off the lot and bring something, like a modular manufactured or stick-built home. And at that time, it would be determined based off of their setbacks, their land, and what type of, home that they would want to put on. But the fence would have to come down. If it were to be going straight across, it may have to come down regardless of what they would put in, but that would be a later decision at a later date. Does the board have any questions for myself?
So it's the applicant's request to fence the whole property in?
So their initial request was to fence the whole property in. In talking with the applicants a little bit before the meeting, they do have an alternative that they may present to you as well, which is why I said that either option of the resolution can be amended. We'll just have to make sure that when we make that motion in second, if that's something that the board wants to consider, that we word it.
And then the town's option is the colorful picture you have on here.
So the town's recommendation for consideration is that the fence would come from the house to just to the north of the footbridge, leaving the footbridge open and not inside of the fence. Take it up to the property corner, back to the rear property corner by the alley, bring it straight across to join the existing 6-foot fence, and then bring it down just below the shed that they have back there, and then cut it back across and join the rear of the corner of the house. Now, whether that's the rear corner exactly or, 4 foot in, but it leaves the front door open and not enclosed inside of a fence as well.
Okay. And they have something different from either of these two that they.
It's my impression, and they may talk about it when they come up, that they may have another option as well.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else for you, Hope.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay. As an introduction, Mr. Martin Saldana is here in the boardroom, and his brother Mario Saldana. Say hi. Is on Zoom. You can see him, and I'll have Martin come up, and you can ask both of them questions.
Okay. Thank you, Hope.
How you doing?
Good.
So she did a great job explaining everything that's going on. We have one more option than we'd like to have considered. And if you're looking at your picture there, you see the area that says 23 foot 6 inches from the neighbor's fence. If we could reduce that front fence down to 4 foot. Also, I don't know if that would be an option for you and it would help you make a decision. The reason why we want the whole area fenced in is because, it's not the prettiest thing out there. And the best way for us to kind of upgrade a little bit is by adding the fence. And we have 48 foot from the front fence to the residence. And that's basically our backyard. Our entrance is through the back, and we have nothing back there other than parking. and driveway. So a gate side is basically our backyard, since there's no access through a gate. And another reason why we want that fence is because, I mean, between myself and my brothers, when we have a family get together, we have to be watching the kids like a hawk because they can take off. And we have a Doberman dog that could easily hop a 3-foot fence, which is what we have now. Another reason we were really hoping for the 6-foot fence is because the street height, actually, if you're looking from the car wash, if you're looking north, the street is actually a foot higher than the elevation of where the fence is. So if you're looking from the street and we have a 3-foot fence, it's actually
2 foot
right,
visibility.
right. So we're kind of hoping that, you know, if it helps, that maybe we can go from 6 foot down to 4 foot to have access to or a straight shot to that front door. So that would be about 23 foot, 24 foot worth of 4-foot fence in that area.
That yellow existing line would be pretty much, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Got it. I'm confused.
So this right here would be your 4-foot fence?
So that one's the existing neighbor's fence. I have this one if you want to take a look.
Yes, yeah, that would be cool.
So pretty much the 24-foot line, this is the property line. If we could drop this down to 4 foot.
Oh, just that section.
On the other south side of the
That side of the gate.
Since this is a gate, this is the ditch.
South side of the gate to the corner of the
Right.
property line.
Okay,
And then
Okay.
And then-
Right.
okay.
Okay.
That's our,
I see what you're saying.
So only this section would be 4 foot.
about 24 foot.
Okay, that, yeah,
Right.
23 foot 6 inches.
But it
And
would,
the rest would be 6 foot.
it would still close off that footbridge, though. It would all be connected on the west side.
Yeah, it would still close it off. There'd be a gate right there. So you'd put a gate at the footbridge in?
Right.
That's correct.
That would make sense.
So it'd be 4 foot all there.
Yeah.
You see
I'd
that
clean
there?
it up. I would clean it up, get all the wire
I-
bits out of there, make it all look
I-
nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see that? Bruce?
I don't know. I got.
I got what he's saying.
I don't see it.
So it'll basically match what the neighbor's fence is, because like there's a 4-foot
Right.
fence on that
Exactly.
side.
Exactly.
Okay, so I was concerned about that because I'm going, well, if we go from 4 feet to
Right.
6 feet at a real hard break, then.
Right.
Yep, exactly. That's what I was looking at.
But other than that, I mean, she did a great job explaining everything that's going on, and that's pretty much all it is. I mean, what is basically everybody else's front yard is actually our backyard.
I don't see a problem with it.
I don't either.
I don't either.
I mean, most people wouldn't even come to the town.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
No, we do appreciate you guys coming to the town.
$250 for a permit.
No, I don't see an
That's
issue
your
with
use
it.
tax,
Yeah,
be my guess.
yeah, it is.
Don't get me started on that.
Wow.
So. Okay. All right, I think any more questions?
No.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
Everyone.
All right, before we turn to members of the board for questions and deliberation, I want to state that the documents included within the record for this public hearing include all application materials submitted by the applicant. All materials included in the Board of Adjustment packets, any PowerPoint or other presentations given tonight, all written referral and public comments received regarding the application, public comment sign-in sheet, the public posting log and photographs of the notice in the town subdivision and zoning ordinances, and other applicable regulations. Does anyone have any objection to inclusions of these items in the record? All right, I will now close the public hearing, and the Board of Adjustment members will deliberate on the evidence presented. During deliberations, members may ask questions to town staff, but no further public comment or other testimony or evidence will be received. All right, who would like to go first?
Chairman, can I actually have you open it back up? Because I do have one gentleman on for public comment.
Okay. All right, I will now open the public comment back up. We will give you 5 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address.
Is he ready? He's still muted currently.
Mr. Haggard, did you want to say anything? If so, you just have to unmute.
I believe everything's fine. Just wanted to understand the situation. As I know, there will be a fence being wanted to be installed over on Jasper Street, and this helps to understand the requirements needed by the city.
All right, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
All right, the public portion of the presentation is now closed. All right, who would like to begin in the deliberation? I think we're kind of all in agreement.
Yeah, I think we're there. I
Okay.
don't think there's any deliberation needed.
We have a draft resolution in front of us and I would entertain a motion. So if we choose to go with an option that's not one of the two here with the option that they brought, we just need to state that.
Then what you can do is make a motion for option one with the amendment to
A 4-foot,
conditions that they can do a 6-foot fence on agate and drop it down to 4 foot
south of the,
south of
But
the
it's
gate.
option one.
option one, yes, because that's the full property.
All right, I make a motion to adopt option one of BOA Resolution 1-2023, a resolution approving a fence variance request for Mario Saldana at the property located at 206 North Agate Street, Wiggins, Colorado, with an amendment that the fence that would be, it would be 23
Feet, 6 inches.
23 feet, 6 inches, be 4 foot from the south side of the gate to the next property line.
Second.
All right, motion has been made by member Herbstman, seconded by member Miller. Roll call, please.
Member Mandy Camilleri is absent. Member Jerry Schmidt,
Yes.
member Brian Flax,
Yes.
member David Erpsman.
Yes.
Member Bruce Miller,
Yes.
member Steve Perot,
Yes.
and Chairman Chris Manzin.
Yes. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Can I get your drawing and do you want a copy of it?
Will you make me a new thing to sign then?
Yeah, I have to. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and then I'll be in touch with you tomorrow.
Nope.
Good to go.
Should be it.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Yep.
We just need to close out the,
All right, the time is now 6:59 and the Town of Wiggins Board of Adjustment is now adjourned.
We're still using the same, or are we going to a new one? New ones.
Mandy, if you're still on, jump on to the trustee meeting.